We've all heard the promise. A college degree is the golden ticket to a good life. But what happens when the price of that ticket puts the good life completely out of reach? Well, let's get into it. I want you to meet Alex. She's 24, and right now she's sitting in her car in a Target parking lot just staring at her phone. Her student loan bill for $730 is due. Her checking account, $891. She's literally doing the math to figure out if she can afford groceries. This was not in the brochure. This is not the future she was promised. And that's the real question here, isn't it? Alex played by all the rules. She got good grades, went to college, got her degree, even landed a job in her field. She did everything she was supposed to do. So how on earth did she end up here, just one flat tire away from a total financial disaster? To really get what's happening to Alex, we need to zoom out because her story isn't just her story. It's the new financial reality for a whole generation. This is the graduate's dilemma. Okay, let's just look at the raw numbers. This is Alex's monthly budget. She makes $52,000 a year, which sounds pretty good, right? That's about $3,400 a month after taxes. But just watch how fast it vanishes. Boom, $730 for student loans. Then $1,100 for rent, $450 for her car and commute, another $650 for groceries and utilities. And just like that, she's left with $470 for the entire month. That's not for fun or saving or investing. That's for, well, everything else. She's walking a financial tightrope and there is absolutely no safety net. So, Alex's situation, it isn't some accident or a stroke of bad luck. It's the direct result of a system where the price of admission has just exploded. Let's look at the numbers behind this whole crisis. This timeline it's honestly staggering. Back in 1987, a year at a private college would set you back about $8,300. Fast forward to 2017, and that same year costs over $40,000. But here's the real kicker. If that price had just kept up with normal inflation, it should be about $18,600. That means the real price of college has jumped by more than 118% in just 30 years. The game has totally changed, but the advice we're giving students, it hasn't. And this is the result. $1.75 trillion. That is the mountain of student loan debt in the U.S. To put that into perspective, that is more than the entire economy of Australia. It's a number so big it's almost meaningless, but behind it are millions and millions of stories just like Alex's. So with costs this insane, you have to ask about the return on investment, the ROI. It's a really simple idea. Over your lifetime, does the money you make because of your degree outweigh what you paid for it? We're always told college is a fantastic investment, but is it really for everyone? Well, the data is pretty shocking. This chart shows that for 28%, that's almost 1 in 3 bachelor's degree programs, the answer is a hard no. They actually have a negative return on investment. Think about what that means. It means the graduates are financially worse off than if they just skipped college and started working. They paid a fortune for a piece of paper that will literally make them poorer over their lifetime. Okay, so if almost a third of degrees are a bad deal, how are so many students falling into this trap? Well, a big part of the problem is the advice we give them, especially students from low-income families. These are what we can call the conventional wisdom traps. Let's really break this down because it turns a lot of common sense right on its head. We tell kids, hey, save money, start at community college. But the reality is, less than half of the students who transfer from there ever actually finish their bachelor's degree. We tell them get a job while you're in school. But for low-income students, that often means working so many hours in a dead-end job that their grades suffer. And living at home? Sounds smart, but it turns out students who live on campus are more likely to graduate and have higher GPAs. The very advice we give to help them save money is in many cases costing them their degree. And there's an even sneakier trap happening inside the universities themselves. As the writer James Andrews explains, when a student is struggling in a tough, high-paying major like engineering, they're often not given extra help. Instead, they're quietly advised to switch into an easier major, one with much worse job prospects. The university gets to keep their tuition money, but the student gets a degree that's worth a lot less in the real world. It's a classic bait and switch. And this whole bait and switch problem leads us to what is maybe the single most important factor in whether a degree pays off, something we just don't talk about enough: your major. Because in today's world, it is truly a tale of two degrees. Just look at the difference here. It's night and day, and it's almost entirely about the money. On the left, you've got the most regretted majors: humanities, arts, communications, fields where graduates really struggle to find jobs that can pay off their loans. And on the right, the least regretted: computer science, engineering, nursing, fields that lead directly to stable, high-paying careers. It could not be clearer. Not all degrees are created equal in the job market. Not even close. And this chart shows you just how huge that gap can be. It's mind-blowing. A drama degree from USC can have a lifetime ROI of negative $500,000. You lose money. Compare that to a computer engineering degree from Princeton with a lifetime ROI of positive $7 million. That is a $7.5 million swing based on a choice you make when you're 17 years old. We're talking about the difference between locking in generational debt and building generational wealth. And look, these aren't just abstract numbers on a slide. This stuff changes people's lives. Just listen to this person on Reddit. Nursing school changed my life. For them, high return degree was the ticket. It was a clear, direct path to a stable career and a better life. But then you have the other side of that coin, the heartbreaking consequences of a low return degree. This user, with what they call a useless degree, feels completely trapped. They're unemployed, and they feel like there's no way out. 10 years after graduating, they're right back where they started, except now they're saddled with a mountain of debt. So, where does all this leave us? What does this mean for students who are trying to make it today? It means the game has completely changed. The old playbook is useless. We need a new set of rules for success. The job market that today's graduates are walking into is nothing like the one their parents faced. Get this, over half of them are underemployed, meaning they're in jobs that don't even require a college degree. The classic entry-level job is disappearing. Employers now want 3+ years of experience for so-called junior roles. And on top of all that, AI is starting to automate the exact kinds of tasks that used to train new employees. The ladder to a good career is literally being pulled up. This new world requires a totally new playbook. Rule number 1, skills trump degrees. What you can actually do is way more important than the piece of paper you have. Rule 2, you have to find other ways to get experience. Internships, freelance gigs, apprenticeships, they're not optional anymore, they're critical. 3, the idea of a straight linear career path is dead. You have to be ready to pivot and adapt. And finally, rule 4, build your own brand. A portfolio of real projects you've worked on can open doors that a diploma never will. Which leaves us with one last massive question. The entire world, the entire job market has been fundamentally transformed. But has the advice we're giving to 17-year-olds, the advice that's going to shape their entire financial future, has that advice changed with it? Looking at everything we've seen today, the answer seems to be a pretty clear no. And that's something we all really need to think about.